Believers of Reddit, why do you believe in God? VeggieTales doesn't make as much sense without believing. I was brought up with religion. My mom and other family members said tales of many gods and goddesses. Yes, we are Hindu. We celebrate a lot of festivals. I believe Big Bang in the evolution. But I also believe in a higher power. I believe that if I do good, my life will be better. If I help others, I will be helped when necessary. That I should work hard and believe in myself. It has given me confidence and hope. Religion for me is about helping others and believing in a greater power. Greater than I believe that if I do good, my life will be better. It is true, religious or not. If I'm being honest, I was born into it and to face the whole wild world without knowing somebody has my back in that. This isn't all that there is, quite scary. I also think about all the people I've met and grown up with in church. How they've cared for and held my hand through rough times. Been my shoulder to cry on. Not to say that non-religious people aren't loving, or that all religious people are loving. It doesn't take much looking to find that out. But I definitely think I would be much less considerate without having the morals of God in mind. All in all, I would recommend looking through various religions to see what you think is true. And to other religious people, the best way to spread your belief is to be loving toward others. Actions speak larger than words. Greater than the best way to spread your belief is to be loving toward others. Actions speak larger than words. One of my favorite quotes from my youth pastor at church. You should be telling people about Jesus every day. And if all else fails, try using words. Edit. Guys, I'm not religious anymore. I haven't been for quite some time. There's no point in being angry or frustrated with me. I agree with you. I thought this thread was going to be filled with arguments, but it's surprisingly wholesome. Because I'm an wholesome guy. I didn't meant the question to be hateful towards anyone, so not so many hateful comments. Username does not check out. Every morning when I pray, walking out, I just feel like I can do anything. Literally. It's not an explainable feeling. Edit. Thanks for the award, and the upvotes. And atheists, please relax lol. If you don't believe in something, you do you, and I'll do me. I was being completely honest. Nobody here cares whether you think my experience is valid. Good day. It's a tricky question because we need to know what sort of God you're asking about. I am a Christian, but I certainly don't believe in the white-bearded old man pictured in the Sistine Chapel. Yes, in Genesis it says that God created man and woman in his own image. But I don't take that to mean his physical image. I think it more likely means that humans were created with the capacity to create and destroy. With free will and the ability to think critically. When you compare our abilities to those of other species on the planet, we certainly are godlike. I believe in an omnipresent creative power in the universe. A power which can be channeled. Beyond that, I don't strive for a definitive understanding of God. The text of 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verses 9 to 12 suggests to me that in the eyes of God we are like children who can understand God in a mirror dimly, and will not achieve full understanding until we meet face to face. I'll wait until then to figure him out. I like this answer a lot. I think this makes the most sense with regard to Judaism, Christian, Islam. I don't understand how people can be so literal with the Bible. I think that you are absolutely correct in that being created in the image of God is to be given consciousness and free will by the creative force in the universe. Whatever name you give that. And I like that you said that force can be channeled, which implies that these ancient books and prophets have relayed some truth, but obviously didn't sit down and have a conversation with God at Starbucks lol. Because I have felt, and continue to feel, God's love in my life. Because when I follow the path of love, it makes life better for everyone, including myself. This is exactly what I was going to say. When you look for God, you see proof of existence every day in big and small ways. I've experienced the love of God that changed my life. I didn't find religion, I found Jesus. Or better yet, he found me. I've heard his voice in a pastor who has a message that explains the very thing I was going through at that time. I've been to Africa. I've seen Christians who were facing persecution who couldn't stop smiling, who had this joy and peace in the midst of everything they were going through. All because of Jesus. The intricate ways that all of the plants and animals have. The miracle of the human mind and emotions. When you give money to a homeless person, or just smile at someone, you are displaying the very character of Jesus. Atheist or not, the fact that we all have unique personalities and features like fingerprints. The way everything was designed. Every creature, every plant, the ocean, the sea, and the sky. Every little thing on this earth is so filled with perfect detail. All of the organisms and life in the ocean is astounding. It's like everything was created with so much care and thought. If you're reading this, I believe that God loves you so much. Take your eyes off of whatever you're going through and look to High Monsieur. I promise you He will accept you with open arms. He created you. He formed every single part of you. You are extremely valuable to High Monsieur. They say reading the Bible will make you an atheist. Well, I postulate reading a biochemistry textbook will turn you into a believer. There are so many things that are absolutely miraculous in biochemical pathways to the point where it seems that billions of years of evolution would not result in what we've observed. Furthermore, I've done a lot of heavy thinking during this shutdown period, and I've come to the realization that seemingly every civilization had some form of religion that appears to have developed mostly independently of one another. In a sense, this made me wonder if religion is in human nature, which I believe to be logical in the case of the existence of a God. I was an atheist for a long time, as that is what is socially acceptable in scientific communities. However, after thinking for myself, the existence of a higher power isn't that far-fetched of an idea. You have perfectly explained how I feel. I majored in biology, and while I have been raised religious, some of my most spiritual experiences have come from studying biology and seeing the complexity of it all. Part of me just can't accept it all to be chance. There must be a higher power guiding it. Question: why do people actively shit on believing in God and Christianity on Reddit? I am not sure I've seen Christians actively shitting on atheists on Reddit. Might be something to that as a belief system, monsieur. To give a different answer than these edgelords. A lot of these people are teenagers who were brought up religious, but their time on the internet has turned them atheists, and now they aggressively reject any religion. They are so aggressive because they have no one to aim that anger at. They feel like they've been lied to their entire lives. But their parents weren't really lying because they believe in what they were teaching. They can't be mad at the preacher because he believes it too. They know those who lied to them did so because they honestly thought they were doing the right thing. The only place they can channel that anger is into internet strangers. I can answer I believe. I grew up in a religious household that I did not believe in and was disowned for it basically. I think many Redditors have had a negative experience with religion in this sense, and that's why it bothers them. I was brought up Catholic, but it wasn't until I was older that I appreciated it. I believe because we receive so many blessings every day, and it's our choice to see the good or the bad. We can also choose to do good or bad. Either way, God loves us and watches out for us. He lets us choose what kind of relationship to have with High Monsieur. When I realized that, it blew my mind. I agree with others, it's all about love. If you had to sum up the Bible in one word, that word is love. So be good to each other because that's all that matters in the end. Have a great day. Christian here. Few of my top reasons. 1. Personal experiences I cannot deny. 2. I can't accept that everything we see and experience is just chance. Seems like it takes more faith to believe life just happened than someone purposefully made it happen. 3. The order of creation in Genesis is pretty much the exact order of evolution. How in the world did someone know that 3,500 years ago? I used to think everyone in church denied evolution, and I came to the conclusion on my own. Noticing the order that was said in the Bible, evolution very well could have been spurred on by God's divine intervention. Now I found that some other Christians believe that too. Anyway, we got here. I know it was God who made it happen. Christians that are Bible contextualists do believe that. I can't speak for other branches of Christianity, but as a Catholic I was taught that the Bible teaches symbolic truth, not necessarily historic truth. I grew up with it, kinda without realizing, and it's nice to believe that there's something more. Also, I'd like to think that I'll see my mom again. This is probably going to get buried, and I don't think this is quite what I was looking for. But here goes. I was raised in an Episcopalian church. I was never super religious. I can't quote Bible verses or anything, but I think the main thing that stuck with me was Jesus saying you're supposed to treat everyone with respect and be nice to them. That always struck a chord with me. And the idea of heaven was comforting. As I grew older, I understood why some people weren't particularly religious. The hypocrisy of being devoutly Christian and then using it as some excuse to oppress minority groups, people of color, members of the LGBT community. Another thing that alienated me was realizing that people in Christianity weren't being motivated to be nice for the sake of being nice. They did it to have a better shot at getting into heaven. And that really bothered me. It felt superficial. So I've always been in this odd area where I didn't feel a kinship with lots of Christians or atheists who insulted Christianity as a whole. I don't think I believe in a big man in the sky anymore. But for me, in a strange way, having faith for me is having faith in humanity. I also don't know if heaven exists, but it's a nice thought that provides relief. Loved your answer. I kinda feel like this too. I'm not a complete atheist. I do believe there is something out there that accidentally are intended to create life. The heaven's job is to reduce the fear of what's after death. Again, I really loved your answer. I don't believe in a bearded man in the sky, but I do believe that God is the universe and nature, and that humanity is bound as one with the cosmos in ways more sublime than we can fathom. Monsieur. Editing to try to answer some of the questions. Starting with why? Something tells me there's a higher power and meaning if we can find it. I just can't anthropomorphize it. I don't believe there's a God that interferes in the affairs of humans. If there is, he's either not omnipotent or not benevolent. I also can't assign it magical powers. The idea that if enough people pray for something then God will hear it and grant it sounds to me like magical thinking. On the other hand, if enough people pray for something and then act to make it come to pass, that's possible. Or if I pray, which I do rarely, for strength or wisdom, I believe that makes me more likely to find it. Why? This. The responder didn't answer the question, but they are still top comment for some reason. Because Reddit has a significant population of atheists. Yes, because it is just wild for me to think that everything that existed just came out of nowhere. Do you just stop there? Or do you also wonder where God came from? So many things to wonder. I just believe that everything in the universe and the cosmos had to come from somewhere. I don't really go to church because it wasn't something my family did when I was a kid unless it was Easter or something. There are 2 videos on YouTube about the history of the universe and how the universe will end. It has nothing to do with religion because it's only about science. But I can't help but think how unimaginably unlikely that there is life and how it can't be just coincidence. God is a very easy way for people to answer questions that scare them. Monsieur, I like to think of it this way. Think of way back when, before the explosion of science and the scientific method. What did people believe? Well, they needed food and water, but did not understand rain. So they attributed rain to gods and food to gods. They didn't understand sickness and disease, so they attributed it to gods. They didn't understand fire, so they attributed it to gods. They didn't understand the sun and solar system, the stars and the universe. So, again, it must be gods. Gods are an easy way to answer the unknown with an easy, one-size-fits-all solution to any problem which can be thought up. Now we understand all those things, and we no longer look to the gods for answers for questions. We have better answers to the universe, existence, consciousness. These are all easy to create one-size-fits-all answers to. But over time we will discover more and less things we currently debate about will be unknown, and the gods will be blamed or thanked for the next step beyond our answers. If there is a God, it is not what anything or anyone is capable of conceiving. If God exists, it is the fundamentals of the universe, the laws of physics and the principles of nature. There is no God, per se, in my opinion, but we know there are governing forces in the universe, things we are unlikely to ever understand given our place in this vast, infinite space we occupy. That is what God may be. But if so, He is objective, a state of being. Who with us? He is not concerned. This is true, and I think about this a lot. The old Catholic Church did a lot to further the idea of God versus science, which is a very unbiblical way of looking at it. I believe that God created science for us to explore and discover the world He created. When God, Jesus, anyone performs miracles, I think He used science to do it. Healing diseases equals He used antibodies, something to cure it that we know about today or maybe don't know yet. When He heals the blind equals He just alters the rods inside our eyeballs or whatever. Parting the Red Sea, He probably utilized some sort of freak tidal event to cause it. Who knows? And I'm not an expert. This is just how I think the issue of Christianity versus science is wrong. That's not what atheists believe. They just don't fill in the gaps of knowledge with stuff that has no evidence. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.